Dr. Zeus once said, "Don't be sad that it's over, be happy that it happened." Now, I know I used this exact opening in my last episode of Ups and Downs, but where Game of Thrones is concerned, it bears repeating that Dr. Zeus can absolutely go and all the way off. As therapeutic as that is, though, it doesn't distract from the fact that Game of Thrones is an absolute age away, maybe even as far as spring 2019. For context, between now and then, we're going to have eradicated polio, had a World Cup, started using Hyperloop trains, and I could conceivably father a child with one of you twice. All we have to fill this void is, of course, speculation, and we love speculation. Best of all, with a finale of the entire story coming into view, whatever madcap ideas we concoct have to be plausible enough to carry us over the finish line. Good news, friends, there is already loads of that stuff out there, so let's get up to our proverbial guts in it. That's right, motherfuckers, strap yourself in because we're about to drop the first in a frankly inexhaustible series of Cleary's Theories.
Cleary's Theories.
Number 10, Jon and Dany are having a baby. I'll tell you what's fun, foreshadowing. In fact, actually, hang on, I'll show you.
Sure is a good day to be not hit in the face with a custard pie, I tell you that much. If there's one thing I hate, it's being hit in the face with a custard pie. I mean, I've had egg on my face, but I do not want custard pie on my face. You know what I mean? All right. We got there. Oh!
These things need a payoff, otherwise they're ultimately pointless.
God, I really thought it was going to be custard pie.
For custard pie, just read Dany reminding us numerous times that she absolutely definitely cannot get pregnant because a mad old witch told her so right before jumping into bed with Jon Snow. In a season with very limited screen time, it makes no sense to repeatedly remind us of this if it wasn't to build to an air quote shock pregnancy. Slightly more subtly though, the season also introduced the idea of fluid interpretation of prophecies. Remember the whole vagueness with the prince that was promised line in Old Valyrian? Number 9, Howland Reed. Since even before he appeared as part of the Tower of Joy flashback at the tail end of Season 6, Howland Reed's presence has loomed over the show for anyone who recognised his importance to Jon Snow's mystery. The appearance of his daughter, and confirmation that he's still around, seemingly suggested that we'd finally get to meet him. But then, nothing. Reed has been one of the only notable figures from Thrones mythology who has remained an invisible presence despite a huge weight of the story behind him. It's felt for almost the entire show's run that he's being held back for some sort of big appearance, and now that we've reached the final season, it seems inevitable that he's eventually coming. In Season 7, Mira said she was returning home as she wanted to be with her family for the long night coming, which sets up a possible appearance, but it's far more likely that a skilled warrior like Howland, I mean, keep in mind he survived the Tower of Joy and the entire rebellion for f***'s sake, will turn up to lend a hand when the White Army arrives in the north. Number 8, Theon kills Euron, but Yara dies in the process. As it stands, Theon might have something of a redemptive moment when he stood up to Harag, or, more accurately, outsmarted him by not having any nads. But his determination to go and find Euron is still slightly wrong-headed. For a start, he's going in the wrong direction. Euron is headed to Essos to pick up the Golden Company, while Theon thinks he's headed back to the Iron Isles. Unless we get another Jorah somehow knows Dany is on Dragonstone despite leaving her in Meereen moment, he's going to end up in the wrong place. Putting that aside though, he is going to get his face off with Euron for no other reason than his arc demands it. For all intents and purposes, Euron now signifies Ramsay, and in order to cast off the remnants of Reek, Theon has to kill him. Now, it's almost certain that he'll achieve that, but it's more than likely going to come at a grave cost of Yara's life. Eventually, the show is going to have to double down on Euron's mythology, and there's very few better ways to prove what an absolute shitbag he is. Number 7, Qyburn makes a white. An underappreciated highlight of Season 7 was Qyburn picking up the wriggling hand of the dead White as everybody else picked their arseholes up off the floor. The mad old loon looking at it with the sort of baffled curiosity a dog might get looking at a lava lamp. Now, there are two schools of thought here. Either that Qyburn will discover some fundamentally useful trick to dealing with the Whites that will help end the war, or he'll try to harness the magic himself to aid Cersei's cause. In both cases, it's quite likely that Qyburn will try and extract whatever magical source is in the Whites, which makes it quite likely that he'll then try it out on someone to see if it works, because, he's precisely that sort of guy. Number 6, Melisandre returns with an army. Melisandre didn't have a great deal to do in Season 7, apart from being a sort of gatekeeper to Dany and Jon's relationship starting legitimately, but she did leave a tantalising mystery when she left. Confronted by Varys on the cliffs above Dragonstone and basically threatened to bugger off and never come back, Melisandre said she would be heading to Volantis and would then be returning to Westeros, where she was aware she would die. So, well, I mean, we can probably count on that happening in the final season now, hopefully thanks to Davos, but it's the fact that she went to Volantis at all that matters more. Volantis is one of the most powerful free cities, and it's home to the Temple of the Lord of Light, who, obviously, unlike your Twitter page, has a lot of followers there, some of whom are even trained to be warriors in his service. If Melisandre is going there, she's going to preach about Jon Snow, who she legitimately believes is the chosen one. And then there's the distinct possibility that she could arrive back in Westeros with an army of devout followers in tow for him. Number 5. The Golden Company betray Cersei. Hey, so you know what's simultaneously the best and worst thing about hiring sellswords? They can be bought, and there's a chance that Cersei's going to discover this major flaw in her plan in the worst way possible. Now, bit of boot knowledge for you, the Golden Company from A Song of Ice and Fire have sworn allegiance to young Griff, a man otherwise known as, wait for it, Aegon Targaryen. Yep, the name the showrunners have given to Jon Snow in place of using the original character in the first place. In A Dance with Dragons, the company breaks its contract with the city of Mia to join Daenerys before just deciding to invade Westeros under their own steam anyway. Now, that's all a bit messy from the point of view of the TV show, but we could probably expect them to turn on Cersei when they realise who she's sending them to fight. Plus, whatever they decide to do with them, it means we're getting full-blown elephant warfare, and I am absolutely here for that. Number 4. Jon Rides a Dragon. Ever since it was revealed that Jon was a Targaryen, it's only been a matter of time before we see him mount a dragon and ride it into battle. After all, like every incoming stepdad worth his salt, him and their mother are a thing now, and they'd better start showing him some goddamn respect. It seems inevitable that Jon will get to live up to this destiny in the final season, with he, Dany, and the Night King fulfilling the 3 Dragonhead prophecy for a, and I'm so happy I'm going to say this, stunning endgame sequence featuring all-out dragon-on-dragon warfare. Whether it's a living dragon or Viserion remains to be seen, but it would make the most poetic sense for it to be Rhaegal that he rides, given that it's the creature named after his father. Hey, maybe we'll even see Bran do something useful and help him out with a cheeky warg. Number 3. Jaime and Cersei both die. Now, I know I'm saying that all the prophecies seem pretty fast and loose these days, but with Jaime leaving Cersei, his role as the Valonqar is pretty much set in stone, and remember, when your tears have drowned you, he'll wrap his hands around your pale white throat and choke the life from you. The stage is perfectly set for all this now for 2 major reasons. 1, Cersei set herself up as the long game big bad going into the final season, and with Dany, Jon, Tyrion, and now Jaime working against it, there is 0 chance of her coming out of this alive. And 2, if you think Jaime's 8-season-long redemption arc ends with anything other than a heroic self-sacrifice, you've not been paying attention to all this, or any other show. The only way that man gets absolved of all the bad incest and child pushing is with his own tearful death. Sorry, pal. Number 2, Dany is Nissa. Alright, okay, hang on, I'll get the whiteboard out for this one. So, this whole prince that was promised thing. Well, their proper name is Azor Ahai, and whoever it ends up being, they have been reborn by the Lord of Light to bring peace to the 7 kingdoms. Now, that's all well and good, but to do that, they have to use the sword Lightbringer, and the catch there is that it doesn't work unless you plunge it into the heart of your beloved. Now, I'm not a swordsmith or anything, but this feels, to me, like a small design flaw. An excellent way to get somebody to break up with you, but a design flaw nonetheless. So, if Jon is the prince that was promised, then his burgeoning romance with Daenerys puts her squarely in line for a far less pleasant plunging than she'll be getting used to. It could be the other way around, of course, but this really feels like it fits George's bittersweet ending that he's promised us all. Jon, who never wanted power, now has to sit alone on the Iron Throne after saving the world, and all it cost him was the woman he loved. Which brings us nicely to number 1, Jon sits on the Iron Throne. Assuming that he doesn't sacrifice himself to confirm Dany as Azor Ahai, which is very possible, and that the theory that he'll have to take the Night King's place to maintain balance in the 7 kingdoms isn't true, Jon is definitely set to win the great game. Let's face it, Game of Thrones might as well be called Game of Underdogs, as George R.R. Martin's penchant for the little guy striking back has driven a significant number of important narrative threads in the series. We've seen unexpected victories masterminded by bastards, by cast-offs, by little monsters, by Arya Stark, and time and again we're shown that strength of character and conviction matters a hell of a lot more than the size of somebody's army or the depths of their pockets. By that token then, there is no way that anyone other than Jon could emerge as the victor at the end of Season 8, and while he might find the idea somewhat distasteful, Jon has a precedent of putting aside his own desires to take control where it's needed. Though he's always still earned this power, it does seem to thrust itself upon him, and it would definitely fit to see the only man who never wanted it sitting on the Iron Throne. So, those were Clary's theories. Let us know what you made of them by leaving a comment below, and, as ever, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. A big thank you to Whatculture's Cy Gallagher for helping me put together this list, and hey, if you've got any of your own, get them in the comments as well, because it's far too long until Season 8 for my liking. Until next time, I've been Adam from Whatculture.com, and yeah, bye.